So hello resellers, beautiful day, beautiful afternoon. Do not let it distract you. I was in the middle of something and sometimes I'm just doing something in the warehouse. Then an idea comes to me and what I always like to do is to execute on that idea as soon as possible, because if I do not do that, there is every possibility that I'm going to miss it or I'm not going to have the time to do it. I was just working today and then it occurred to me that look, it's something I actually need to talk to you guys about. This is coming from my experience I've gathered over the years, reselling items on eBay. In case you're meeting me for the first time, I do sell electronics on eBay. I buy used stuff and I sell them on eBay and on my website, to make a profit. You see, when I started a long time ago, there was this tricky thing that was always happening, which is I kept getting so many offers from different people over the internet, because I'm a business seller by eBay. It's very easy for someone to go onto my profile and get, my email address. And a lot of people are doing this. A lot of, big time sellers, a lot of wholesalers, they go onto your profile on eBay, they get your email address, and they keep sending you offers every day. And until this day, I keep getting offers, for whatever it is, for phones, for tablets, for computers, for monitors. And the offer is always so beautiful, so interesting. I get an offer, say for 20 pieces of a particular, phone, and the offer sometimes looks so beautiful. I just couldn't find a way to say no to some of those offers because I was always looking at the fact that how is it going to be possible for me to go out there and source in a particular location and get all these decent offers. So most times I just go ahead and buy it off whoever was, offering me this beautiful offer. And this I was doing thinking that I was already doing business, because if you are new to business, you do not know the right items to buy. And it kind of happens that whenever you see items, you are just feeling that because the item is very cheap, because of that, you will be able to resell it. Guys, after doing this over and over and over and again, I realized something, and this is exactly what I want to tell you about today. The market is shrinking. It doesn't matter the category you sell on. Most categories on eBay actually has a shrinking market. What do I mean when I say the market is shrinking? See, in most categories on eBay, a lot of people just have a set brand in mind. If you're talking about the phone categories, people are actually looking to buy iPhones, to buy, Samsung products. If you're talking about computers, people are looking at buying a particular brand of PC. It could be a Lenovo, it could be a Fujitsu, it could be a Dell PC. If you're talking about shoes, sometimes people are well out on the lookout for very decent brands. I'm not an expert when it comes to the shoe categories, but I know that people are just actually mindset on brands like Nike, Adidas, Puma, and so on and so forth. This is exactly what I mean by the market is shrinking. When I was buying this stuff many years ago, I didn't know that the market was already shrinking. Nobody wanted certain items. Doesn't matter how cheap the items were. People just didn't want a particular type of item. I do not know why it is so, because people think of it, these items are supposed to be very good items, but because the market have just said, no, we want iPhones, we want Samsung products, every other product, doesn't matter if it's LG, if it's Nokia, and so on and so forth, the market doesn't just want it. So if you get somebody offering you this product, say 50 pieces, for example, of a Nokia phone for say €5 a piece, and you go ahead and buy the 50 pieces, it's very likely that you bring to the market. Market is going to say, we are so sorry. Perhaps 5-6 years ago, this item was actually in demand, but right now, we do not want these items. Nobody's going to buy it from you. And if you are not careful, that one single transaction can just skim you out of business, can take you months to actually recover from it. See, this is coming from my own personal experience. And just like I said in my last previous videos, every day a new reseller is born. And it makes a lot of sense if some of these ideas we can actually push it out so that whoever is seeing this video might just have a way of saving himself or herself a lot of stress from actually going to buy a bad transaction. See, I'm going to exactly tell you how you go about stuff like this. When you get offers from people trying to sell you stuff, I'm going to give you, the game plan, how you approach it, and how to make sure that you do not make losses from just one single transaction. Because truth be said, one single transaction, if it's not well done, can actually set you back like 3 or 4 months, even 5 months if you are not careful. That's why it's very important for you, to take care before you commit to a particular, transaction. Of course, the best way to scale your business is if you can actually get somebody selling you things in very large quantities, because truth be said, there's just a limit to how far you can actually go and source for items. You could go out today, which is Thursday, Friday. On Saturday, you might just say, no, I do not want to go out. I'm not just feeling it. It's very possible I get a particular location and I'm not able to find anything. So if somebody is selling you something, most times it's the quickest way to just get inventories. And if you do it right, you can actually profit a lot out of those inventories. So I ended up buying a lot of stuff. At the end of the day, I wasted money, wasted time in listing them on a platform like eBay. Nobody was buying them. I tied my capital for a very, very long time. At the end of the day, most of those items, I needed to just dispose of them. And until this day, most of those items are still part of the items, that make up my debt pile. So it could be very, very sad if you make a mistake in this process. See, when you receive an email, somebody trying to, sell you something, I'm just going to use another example. Somebody has mini computers to sell and it's telling you, hey, I've got these decent inventories. Minimum order is like 50 pieces. This is the model number. This is the exact configuration of the unit. The price is this. It looks so fantastic. If it is too good to be true, this is the point you have to actually take a step back and just perhaps reply and say, look, give me a day or two. I am going to get back to you. And in this time, you are going to go back to eBay and take a look at what exactly the market wants. You see, it's not possible to know what the market wants in every category. But before you commit to a particular transaction, make sure you actually go and query the eBay system. Beautiful thing is that eBay has made things pretty much easy for us. Terapeak is exactly what you need. You want to go onto eBay, check to be sure that the item that is being sold to you has actually been sold in the last 7 days. If not, you have to be careful how you commit to that item. See, 7 days is actually very short. You want to make sure that the item also have been sold in the last 2 weeks. And in worst case situations, you want to make sure that the items have been sold in the last 30 days. It's not just enough for the item to have been sold in the last 30 days. How many of the items were actually sold in the last 30 days? Because if one unit of an item sold in the last 30 days, this is not good enough. You want to be sure that, look, there are people selling that item and the item is seen to be selling every other day. Otherwise, if you commit to buying as much as 50 pieces of an item that is not selling every day, you are going to end up keeping that item. If you are not careful, you might end up having that item for like 6 months, 7 months, even 9 months or beyond. It's happened to me and I'm talking from experience. So somebody wants to sell you something, don't be in a hurry. If the price appears too good to be true, just understand that it's very possible that it's not true. So you want to take all the time you need. Make sure the item are actually selling on eBay and they are actually selling well enough for you to commit to the transaction. And also, one thing you also want to make sure is that, look, the price with which somebody is selling you those items, you can actually go ahead and resell it and still make a profit, because sometimes you might be thinking like $7 or €7 is not a big deal. Sometimes it's just enough for people to go for the items that is sold for €7 less and not buy your particular product. So you want to make sure that, look, if you bring the item to the market, you should be able to compete favorably with the prevailing market price. Because one thing that also happens is that you buy the items, you bring them on eBay and then realize that a competitor is already there with the same item. The person has like 500 units of the same item, and the price differential between your price and his price is about €10. It's going to be difficult to sell those items. See, no matter how beautiful it is, it's better you do not have inventories. You are chilling in your garage, you are chilling in your warehouse, you do not have inventories, rather than buying 50 pieces of an item that you cannot sell. At the end of the day, you have wasted your money, you have wasted your time, and the more you see those inventories, the more you're going to be angry. And if you are so unlucky, you have bought like 2 types of this kind of inventories, each 50 units each, and everything running into like thousands of dollars, you would have ended up sourcing yourself out of business. So this is a very important point. I felt like it's something I should share with you guys. Like I said, I just got this idea, taking a look at the inventories I have, taking a look at, my debt pile, and I said to myself, if I knew what I knew today, I would not have bought some of this stuff. And I feel like there's somebody out there that might find this very, very useful. If that person is you, please do go ahead and click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, support the channel, share the videos. Until I see you again in the next one. Peace.